I'm trying to be great, and I'm on my way. Way up, way up, way up. It's never too late, and I'm on my way.
I'ma leave my mark. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Ready, set.
With so much negativity being yielded at the youth of our nation, it seems hard to find any signs of a bright future. Coming from a legendary past, the new generation of Bahamians seek to take this nation to heights it's never seen. That's where the youth perspective comes in. We seek to display tomorrow's leaders in every facet of society. Each show will focus on today's pace-setters, trendsetters, movers and shakers, and the next generation of great, impactful Bahamians. We seek to uplift, motivate, and encourage our listeners. Tune in as we address issues of importance with wisdom and intelligence, all from the youth perspective.
Sometimes you wonder if you got it, wonder if you got it in you. Some days looking for the reason why. Feels like standing on a runway, standing out on a runway lately, watching everybody else fly by. See that wildfire in your eyes, keep on burning, keep that dream alive. Can't let go of what you got inside. Maybe it's crazy, maybe it's meant to be. Who says you gotta have it all figured out? Who says you'll never feel alone in the crowd? Who says you gotta be like everyone else? Who says? Who says? Who says? Hold on, with everything you got it, everything you got it in you. Don't stop, I can see the finish line. One shot, are you gonna take it? Are you gonna take it this time? One life, don't let it pass you by. See that wildfire in your eyes, keep on burning, keep that dream alive. Can't let go of what you got inside. Maybe it's crazy, maybe it's meant to be. Who says you gotta have it all figured out? Who says you'll never feel alone in the crowd? Who says you gotta be like
Welcome to another edition of The Youth Perspective. Yours truly, Kashigan Jamal Adelaide, is here with you in your company. And this is season 4, ladies and gentlemen. We do the show each and every Saturday right here on the station that you're listening to. And we have another great and amazing episode coming for you. Don't forget, all the shows are now located on YouTube. We moved them from SoundCloud and iTunes, and now they're on YouTube. So you can search The Youth Perspective, Kashigan J. Adderley, and you can be able to find all the shows that we've recorded. And, of course, you could be able to listen at your pleasure, all right? So we have two wonderful persons that are joining us on this edition of The Youth Perspective, and we have a great topic that we're going to talk about this evening. So sit back, relax, and enjoy The Youth Perspective. Joining us is Mrs. Paula Hospedales and also Mike McGinty. Both of them are here with me. How y'all doing?
Really well. Good evening. Thank you for having us.
All right. It's great to have you, Mr. McGinty, as well. So we're talking about REACH, Autism Awareness 2018. It's that time again. So for those who don't know, let's start simply. Autism. For those who don't know, tell us a bit about autism.
Okay, so autism is a neurological disorder that affects people in different ways. It's called a spectrum disorder because each person is affected differently, but typically there are 3 hallmarks, and one is communication. And so we find that we have a population of people with autism who will not speak, and we have people who are completely able to speak and they have a wide vocabulary, but they have problems with context and understanding language. You know, they may take things quite literally, things like that. The other one is behavior. We find that we have a lot of repetitive behaviors. And finally, it's social interaction. And so we have our kids and adults have difficulty with some types of social interaction, and they really just need help to kind of, you know, go through the landscape of meeting with people, of finding and keeping friends, you know, having conversations in a typical fashion.
Right. And go ahead, Mr. Ginty.
No, I was just going to piggyback on what Paula was saying in regards to those 3 areas. So just for instance, for a child that might have social deficits related to autism, for one child it might look like they don't have any social intent. So they don't really want to make contact with other individuals. And then on the other end of the spectrum for social would be they're really social, but they're making a lot of social errors. Maybe not approaching not able to make friends or maintain friends in school. So it's a really large spectrum in regards to social. But that's what you'll see with young kids and as they go into adolescence about how the communication really impacts social issues for them.
Right. And does autism get mixed up with like ADHD or anything like that?
Well, yeah. So I think autism, a lot of the characteristics of autism have components of ADHD, anxiety disorders, obsessive compulsive disorders that go along with the autism. But it doesn't mean if a child is diagnosed with autism, it doesn't mean that they have all those characteristics. They might have 1 or 2 of them to go along with it. With either OCD or ADHD.
Okay, I understand.
So you would notice that when you see any kind of social content with autism, that we use a puzzle piece. And the reason why we use that is because everybody is going to have a different mix of the 3 hallmarks of autism. So it's all like puzzle pieces. We're all different. And of course, autism itself is a puzzle because we don't know why it happens, and it's difficult for these people to navigate the world, and we just navigate it differently. And so for us at REACH, because we're an advocacy group and because we deal with training and understanding and awareness and acceptance, what we're really looking for is just for the general public, for the community to be more supportive of differently abled people. The thing about autism is that there is no look. You can't look at a child or an adult and say, definitively, this person has autism.
Right.
It's maybe when they start to interact, maybe when they start to communicate, you may see some differences. But because of that, what happens a lot for us, and I'm a parent of a kid with autism, is that there's a lot of judgment in the community. Right. That you see a kid who appears to be misbehaving, and it's not a discipline problem. It might just be that this kid is having a difficult time in a certain situation. And so, what we're looking for is just a little understanding of just how different disorders affect different people.
And I think that would also be for teachers. And I know that I'm sure there's a lot of families and school teachers that are listening, and that would impact it by a kid in a classroom that has a non-visible disability such as autism or ADHD. That teacher automatically thinks that they should be at the same level as the other kids, versus a child that has a visible disability such as Down syndrome or some type of physical impairment. Teachers have a little bit more compassion for them because they see that visible disability, and that's where parents have difficult time and teachers communicating, where that can be a breakdown between the parent and the teacher of like, well, why isn't my child performing that way? They look normal. Why are they not meeting the milestones? And that goes into the stigma that's related for parents, that since there is no visible sign, then parents tend to, take that burden on themselves, or people then point that towards them also.
All right, and I want to point out this aim of Reach Bahamas. It is a nonprofit organization, and its aim is to provide parents with comprehensive knowledge and tools in the areas of. That's the wrong part. I'm going to edit that out. Its aim is to provide parents with comprehensive knowledge and tools in the area of the disorder. So now, how does Reach come about to help parents with that?
Well, Reach started in 1999. We've been around for a long time, and it started with a group of parents who were coming together to support each other. And we've kind of grown from strength to strength, and that's why we have Michael, who's been coming to the Bahamas for over 11 years and offering different training for parents and caregivers, just as our first therapist for our child. A parent is a child's first teacher.
Right.
And if parents are given even the most basic of skills to be able to deal with our children and the different areas that our children will need a little assistance with, it goes such a long way for us getting our children ready for the world.
All right. And of course, Reach Bahamas is the entity that you would want to reach out if you may see some signs in your child and you're not quite sure what's going on, and they could kind of hold your hand.
Right, and direct you to where you can get resources. But also, we do have a lot of support for parents, because when you have a differently abled child, it can be isolating.
Right.
But when you have a community of people who understand the road on which you are traveling, it's so uplifting for parents, and you see it every day, and we see it every time we meet with parents. They're at different points on their journey. Some of them may be in denial, some of them may be full on trying to make sure that their children get everything, but everybody understands the road that we're traveling, and we could support each other, even if it's just listening to you as you go through what your issue is for this week, or giving you some advice as what works for my child, why don't you try this, or getting the children together, because sometimes our kids get very isolated as well, because they're different, and because we want to protect them from judgment, we tend to keep them kind of close to us, but it is important that they're out into the community. So not only so that they could interact with the community, but the community can interact with them and understand them.
All right. Did you want to add in anything?
No.
Okay. Now, for those parents who might want to be able to get on board, they want to come to one of your sessions when you come, Mr. McGinty, how can they do so?
Well, we do a lot of advertising with the sessions. We put it on Facebook.
Okay.
We have an email blast that we put out there. So the trainings that we just did about a week ago were related to behavior and behavioral interventions. This next month, we're going to do a training regarding adolescence and transitioning to adulthood. And then we have another training in June that we're doing related for sleeping issues. And I know that's something that we will do a lot of advertising for. We have a neurologist coming from the University of Vanderbilt, who is one of the experts in the United States. And that's an issue that impacts a lot of families because a lot of kids with autism have issues with sleep, with eating, with just your basic issues of, and that's somewhat related to this disorder and somewhat related to the OCD. So we're trying to bring as much help to the parents as possible. And like Paula had said, just give them some guidance and some simple strategies moving forward with their child.
All right, I love it. Now, I know this month there are some wonderful things that are coming up. So tell us more about
We've
it.
had a lot of activities this month, and we're ending the month on the 28th of April. Saturday, 28th of April, we have our annual Fun Run Walk. It is going to be held at Montague Park at the beach. And the registration for the walk is $20. And with that registration, you get a little bag, you get a water bottle and a Reach t-shirt, and the ability to win maybe a finisher medal if you place in one of the age categories. And for the first 100 finishers, we'll be giving a finisher medal. But it's really a good time just to bring awareness and for us to raise a little funds for some of the activities that we have. Also at the Fun Run Walk, we will be drawing our raffle. This is our third annual raffle, and this year the top prize is 1 year free gas from Rubis. And the raffle tickets are $2 or $20 for a book, and it's really, all of these are in efforts for us to raise funds for our summer program, for our training, as Mike is doing with us, because we offer these trainings free of charge. And additionally, because our trainings are on Saturdays, we do also offer childcare because we understand our parents sometimes would love to attend, but they have nobody to keep their kids.
Right.
Feel free to give us a call before the training, and we'll organize to have enough people in order to look at your kids safely.
Is there any other events that's happening as we get closer to the end of the month?
Yes. Our parent support meeting is on the 25th, Wednesday, the 25th of April. It's at 6:30 at the Reach office. On that day, we will also have an open house, so you can come into Reach at any time during the 25th of Wednesday, the 25th of April, to talk with the people who are there and just, if you have a concern, if you'd like to volunteer. If you're a teacher or an educator and you think that there may be a kid in your class or a number of kids who need special help, come on down to the Reach offices, and we are located at the QC campus, first building on the left-hand side.
Wonderful school. Yeah.
Yes. I can tell you're a QC alumni.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Now, for those who might want to give you a call, or also, I know you said that you market heavily on Facebook and stuff like that. Can you give us all the handles?
So you can search on Facebook for Reach Bahamas. I think our handle is Reach Bahama. We have our Instagram page, Reach Autism Bahamas. And the number for our office is 328-4123. You can also send us an email at reachautismbahamas@yahoo.com. Our webpage is on its way back up, and as soon as we have that, we will have it on Facebook as well.
Now, for those who might want to volunteer, those who might want to help out, how can they do so?
You can call the Reach office. We tend to have quarterly trainings for our volunteers just to make sure that it's a good fit.
Yeah.
We do not want to leave our kids with we just want to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Yeah.
And so we do have volunteer training. So if you call and we get your contact information, we could always let you know when the next volunteer training is.
All right. So as we get ready to wrap up, we got about 5 more minutes or so. Is there any angles of autism that's not normally talked about? Anything that you care to mention with the audience as we get ready to wrap up things?
I think one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that a kid with autism becomes an adult with autism. This is not something that they outgrow. I know this is a special area that Mike deals with in his practice, and that's with the adults with autism. And Mike, you could probably talk about...
Yeah, so I think that we view it as an issue with just children, right? So, but they do obviously matriculate to adulthood, and some of those issues are, could be related to independent living, issues with possible employment, some type of program, because the programs that are existent here in the Bahamas, even though they're still need a lot of growth, are at the school-based level. Up to 18 years of age. But when students make that transition to adulthood, there are some issues that are not present, within childhood. So I think those are the issues that parents have to start planning for way in advance and to get ready for that. But going back to way at the beginning of life, when I think one thing we should mention is just if you're seeing signs of your child, at 2 or 3 years of age, of not making the milestones in regards to developing language, making connections with people around them, obviously having good play and play skills that are commensurate with other kids. Those are the signs you would need to really either see your pediatrician or some type of neurologist or psychologist just to see if early intervention is needed. And most likely it is. So because you can't just say, we hear this all the times for families, well, it's boys and they outgrow it. Well, that's not really the case. And the more the intervention at an early age, the lessen the impact of the disability on the child. So those the years 2 and 3 years of age, you get so much 4,000 or 5,000 words that you're developing before the age of 5. So those are the types of signs. If you're seeing them, you really need to try to contact REACH, contact your pediatrician to help you through that process.
Right. And what I'm hearing you're saying is being attentive and then not taking things for granted when you may see something and you may be, well, let me see what's going to happen next week or let me just weed it out. But actually making sure that you pay attention to what's going on with your child.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Now, how prevalent is autism in the Bahamas? Is it really big or?
This is a question we get all the time. At the moment, we don't have numbers for the Bahamas. We're working on it. I think the government is in talks with Autism Speaks, which is a global organization, to come in and really figure out what our numbers are. But we go with the U.S. numbers. And at the moment, the U.S. numbers are 1 in 68 kids are being diagnosed. And 1 in 45 for boys. So we find it more prevalent in the boys. And I think in the Bahamas, we've seen a drastic increase in children being diagnosed with autism. So I imagine over the next few months to maybe a year and a half, we'll be able to have better numbers for the Bahamas.
All right. And speaking of the government, is there any plans in the works? Is there anything in the pipeline as it pertains to autism?
One of the things I think a lot of people have heard at our Light It Up Blue ceremony on the 3rd of April is the Prime Minister promised us to give REACH an area of land that we could use for development. We are really excited about it because we have a lot of ideas as to what we need. But more importantly, we're thinking that we'll probably have some sort of activity center that we could deal with from the preschoolers to the adults, maybe on-the-job training and life skills for the adults and just a place for them to be, down to therapeutic options for our constituents for all ages, and maybe a preschool play area for children, some sporting activities, just somewhere that is a home for people who have autism.
No, that's great. That's great. And of course, we know that Corporate Bahamas is listening as well. So I'm sure donations are always welcome.
They are always welcome. And we take donations, financial donations or donations of time, but we really are a nonprofit and we rely on these donations in order to get our things done. And I just always have to remind people that all of our training courses, all of our summer programs, all of our events, we offer free of charge.
Wow.
And so we really are reliant on our Fun Run Walk and our raffle and other events that we've had this month and over the course of the year in order to make sure that we could continue to offer quality therapeutic options for our constituents.
All right, indeed. Now, as we get ready to close up, I'm going to swing it to you first, Mr. McGinty. Is there any closing comments you want to leave with the listening audience?
Just want to make everybody aware of all the events that are coming and support REACH. They need as much support as you can get. They do a lot for the community. And then also just to remind everybody just to keep tuned in to all the upcoming trainings that we're offering for teachers and parents. And just to... if you see signs, don't ignore those signs and get assistance as soon as you can.
All right. And of course, Miss Paula Hospitalis.
Yes, you did well.
Yes, thank you.
REACH Bahamas, we are all about inclusion and just trying to have an effect on the wider population. And we just want people really to be a little bit more accepting of autism and people with differences. Even if it's not something you can see, it is better to ask a question than to make a judgment.
Right.
And as a parent, we're always trying to protect our kids, but we really need people to accept us and accept where we are and the struggles that we have to go through.
Thank you so much for sharing, both of you. We appreciate you coming on, and this has been a show I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So, it just worked out.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
No problem. And please do come back again another time. All right. So now for those listening in, don't forget, you can go to
Reach office, which is located on the QC campus, first building on the left-hand side up the stairs. Our number is 328-4123. There is somebody there 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. You can also send us an email at reachautismbahamas@yahoo.com. You can check us on Facebook at Reach Bahama and Reach Autism Bahamas on Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Paula Hospitalis, and of course, Mr. Mike McGinty for joining us on this edition of The Youth Perspective. We'll see you on the next one.
Don't worry, just lay it down, it's not your fight. Don't worry, it'll be alright. Don't worry, he will make your heavy light. Don't worry at all, worry at all. This love is always right on time. I've been trying to figure out my own way, trying to put it all on me. Way down by the pressure, without looking up, I know you see me. Cause on and on you keep blessing me, but on and on I keep worrying. Why I'm always running when you're telling me don't worry, just lay it down, it's not your fight. Don't worry, it'll be alright. Don't worry, he will make your heavy light. Don't worry at all, worry at all. This love is always right on time. Right on time.
Rise up, get clean, throw 'em on like I'ma wear 'em. Ain't got the shoulders for the burdens I'm bearing. Broke down and pulling over by the wayside. Was never made for this type of weight, so I throw my hands up and my load gets lighter. I throw my hands up and then burn like fire. Float up to heaven like the smoke in the air. I flip my worries in the prayer, leave 'em right there.
Just lay it down, it's not your fight. Don't worry, it'll be alright. Don't worry, he will make your heavy light. Don't worry at all, worry at all. This love is always right on time. Right on time, right on time. Right on time, right on time, right on time. Time to make cold. I know your problems seem God-sized. If you can see them through God's eyes. Take a look, see. If you can only see them through God's eyes, yeah. I know your problems seem God-sized. If you can see them through God's eyes, yeah. He's right on time, right on time. Just lay it down, it's not your fight. Don't worry, it'll be alright. Your heavy light. Don't worry at all. This love is always right. Don't worry at all. This love is always right on time. Right on time. Right on time. Love is right on time. 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 Can't thank you enough. Right on time. Right on time. Yeah. I'm trying to be great, and I'm on my way. Way up, way up, way up. It's never too late, and I'm on my way.
I'ma leave my mark. Ready, set, go. Ready, set, go. Ready, set,
I hope you enjoyed another edition of The Youth Perspective. Stay tuned for more interviews, more in-depth conversation, great music as we seek to encourage, empower, impact, and uplift our youth of this nation. Here on The Youth Perspective, we'll see you next time right here on The Youth Perspective with Keshik and Jamal.